Hunting Robust, the journey onward by Master Atlan, chapter 75, where we started. The qualification rounds had finally ended for the day, which meant that one half of the tournament bracket had been decided. Tomorrow, the other half of the fighting would begin, which would round out the bracket completely and set up the two-persons teams that would compete. People all over Remnant were excited to see which teams moved up in the fights and would claim victory. Most of them just saw it as a good sport that showcased the results of their schools were producing. The people in the bar saw it as a chance to put some money down and dance with Lady Duck. With Lady Luck, some people made bets on which team would make it through to the double rounds. Some decided to play it big and guess who would win the entire thing. Most bets were put on the term with the Mr. Champion backing them. Some people saw an Elysian team with a peppy ginger girl handling almost all of the fighting and putting their bets on her to take it all. The last match of the qualification was the Beacon team against some team from Shade that didn't even look like they had proper weapons. A lot of money was put down on the Shade team after the leader reduced most of the biome he was in to dust and then used it to fling the other team out of bounds. There wasn't a single person watching it that wasn't super impressed by that little display of power. It was cute, but he honestly couldn't find himself satisfied by what he was watching. These kids were treating their fighting and training like a spectacle. It was hard to even consider these as legitimate fights and not shows the fighters there had scripted beforehand. Of course, he meant that as a criticism, unlike the people behind him who were complaining to get out of paying their bets. Of course, when he was a student training to fight and participate in the tournament, he was no better. He treated it all as a joke and laughed around while he fought. He was a cocky little prick growing up, and honestly, he hadn't changed that much since then. It was understandable that they would be confident and want to show off what they could do, but that was going to bite them when they were out in the real world and had to face what was out there. It was easy to think you were on the top of the world when you had teammates by your side and trained fighters to watch over you. It felt so much worse when you were surrounded all on your own, when it feels like there is no way out and no other solution. It can change even the most understanding and idealistic person to someone you couldn't even recognize. Two girls smiled up at him, made him shake his head to rid himself of those dour thoughts. He upended the glass in his hand and swallowed the bitter drink in one go before slamming it down. The smooth drink hit his stomach and he burped loud enough to draw eyes his way. The raggedy man stood off his stool and nearly stumbled in place before he found his wallet. Tossing the lien on the counter, he started making his way to the exit. Thanks for the drink. Hey, mister, are you gonna be okay? Oh yeah, he assured the wall that was coming squiggly like waves in front of his eyes. I just gotta get somewhere real quick. And the bartender watched the inebriated man speak to the furniture with a quirked eyebrow before shaking his head. Sir, I can't in all good conscience let you drive in that state. I ain't driving. He whipped his arms around and sauntered to the exit. I'm flying. The people inside the bar watched the strange man wobble his way out before disappearing altogether. They shrugged and went back to their own businesses. Nothing that surprising about some drunk enjoying himself during the festivals. What was strange was the black bird that sailed through the air before diving down into the pier. The stupid thing picking itself up and quickly lifting off again in a shaky glide through the air, as if the tiny avian was being badly affected by enough alcohol to knock down a fully grown man. Hunting, why sir, what is wrong with you? She's here, the white-haired girl called out to her friends as she ran through the courtyard and straight to the landing docks at the edge of Beacon. It was her ship. I'd recognize it anywhere. Yang looked over at Blake as they followed their teammate. So have you figured out the pronoun game yet, or are you just as lost as me? Well, it's a woman. Blake stated the obvious as their friend continued to excitedly talk about whomever she was was waiting. She was waiting. Actually, specifically who they were. So how many women do we know that can get why so worked up like that? I'm surprised. But then I'm gonna have to break the news to Sasuke. Oh, shut up. They all looked forward as Weiss came to a slow jog before stopping altogether. They spotted a specialized Legion airship that docked on the landing pads with other people also watching in surprise. Weiss quickly started running again and slipped by anyone that stood in her way before coming out the other side. She saw multiple Legion night units moving cargo and stacking supplies on top of each other and standing to the side while watching them work diligently was the reason she was so giggly. Winter! The elegant white-haired soldier perked up at the call of her name and looked back. She spotted her little sister standing just a few yards away with a colorful assortment of girls at her side. The Atlas soldier turned around and carefully made her way over with a trained and dignified gait. Weiss seemed to burn with excitement while the others watched her approach with shocked expressions. If they didn't know that was Weiss's sister yet, the fact she looked like an identical twin who had been aged up would have given it away. Her skin and hair color were an exact match, and the strict stare she had on her face was a dead ringer for the same look Weiss had given them numerous times when they first met. The older woman carried herself with diligence and control of someone who had been raised with both the eloquence of a wealthy aristocrat and the discipline of a trained soldier. Blake and Yang looked wary of interaction with someone who looked like an older, sterner Weiss that hadn't mellowed out over months of friendship. Ruby's eyes were almost filled with stars as she spotted the woman who was not only a huntress by the weapon on her hip, but a trusted and accomplished soldier by the way she carried herself. If this was what Weiss was going to become when she grew up, she was going to be awesome. And Weiss was just filled with glee at the fact that she could see her beloved sister again after so long. Winter, I can't believe you actually made it. I didn't think you would come to see me in the tournament in person. I haven't seen you in so long. I'm so happy. Weiss, the sister's stern and powerful voice interrupted her joyous rumbling. Please, calm down and control yourself. Oh, of course. Like a flip switch, Weiss quickly composed herself, clearing her voice and standing up straight with her hands overlapped in front of her. Welcome, Winter. I'm grateful to see you here in time to watch my performance. I did not come all this way to watch you fight in the tournament. I'm here on Atlas business, and I have come to make sure it is completed without incident. When she said that, Weiss' expression dipped for an instant before quickly becoming a solid mask of composure. Winter waited a moment before adding, I have, however, been keeping up to date with the stream. I know you passed the qualifier, and your team has moved on to the next round. Weiss perked up and couldn't control the smile stretching across her face. However, I do have some notes about your performance. Wasted movement and showy spectacles nearly cost you your victory. She flinched with the criticism, and the others did as well. Before Winter continued, I expect that you'll be going to the next round. If you are, then I'll expect a much better showing from you then. Hearing her sister's expectations caused Weiss to smile. I'll do my best. You always do. Winter nodded. And how have you been since coming to Beacon? Weiss was quick to list off her performances. I've been excelling in my classes. I've gotten straight A's in all my subjects, and I am tracking to score in the top percentage of the year. I won all of my matches rather handily. I've also been helping with some extracurricular activities to boot. Recently, I was part of planning the school dance. Weiss enough. The younger sister quickly went silent. Winter had closed her eyes and rubbed them in exasperation before looking down at her sister's worried expression. I wasn't asking about your studies. I've come to expect that if there is a bar to academics at a school, you will exceed them. I was asking about your personality, your well-being, your interest. It has been a rather hectic few months since I last saw you. Yes. With the dust rubbies in the breach and that awful partner of father's turning out to be a criminal, it has been a very eventful few months. Weiss casually stated as if she were remembering some faint facts she could hardly remember. Blake and Yang tried to look preoccupied so that they didn't meet the soldier's gaze, and Ruby was failing to nonchalantly whistle. Well, I have been all right since I left home, and I can't really say that I have any particular interest of my own, but my team does invite me and make sure I am aware of when they are doing something they think is fun. Oh, Winter, I haven't introduced you yet. Weiss stepped aside, introduced the three young ladies by her side. These are my teammates. This is Yang Xiaolong. Hiya. The perky blonde waved to the older woman with a grin. I guess our teammates' Weissy demeanor is hereditary, huh? Winter perked her eyebrow. I don't think I understand what she just said. She attempted to make a joke. The attempt failed. Yang blew a raspberry before Weiss motioned to the woman beside her. And that is her partner, Blake Belladonna. Blake was far more composed with her introduction by bowing slightly to the Legion specialist. It's a pleasure to meet you. The pleasure is mine. Thank you for working alongside and watching out for my sister. She's been a great friend and an ally since we joined this team, and I'm happy to have met her. One sloppy introduction from Yang and one great one from Blake. They were working even with first impressions. Now all she has to do was control how. Hi, Weiss's sister. The little bundle of raw excitement, excited nerves, dressed in red, exclaimed as she ran up in front of the two sneeze sisters. It is so cool getting to meet you. You're just like Weiss, only taller. You're a huntress, right? And a soldier in Atlas too, right? What is that like? Oh, is that your weapon? It's a sword, your weapon? That is so cool. We have a friend who uses a retro weapon like that too. Or does yours do something special? Taking a moment to breathe from her rapid fire questioning, Ruby gasped. What was it like growing up with a tiny Weiss? Oh, please tell me what Weiss was like as a little kid. Went to blink in shock at this girl's assaulting her with words and questions. To her side, Weiss was staring at her with sheer unbridled contempt. And just a little bit away, Blake and Yang were palming their faces in disappointment, resignation. Winter, the younger sneeze sister, snarled through her teeth, and Ruby finally seemed to realize her blunder as she stepped back. This is my team leader and partner, Ruby Rose. I'm also her best friend. Ruby quickly added. She's delusional about that fact. So these are your teammates. The Atlas, the specialist, remained composed and completely unfazed by the unfamiliar spectacle she had just witnessed in front of her. They're about as eccentric as you wrote to me about, but still, I'm glad to see you have found some friends in your time here at Beacon. Winter, I'm glad you're proud, but please have a little more faith in me. I also understand that you've had some rather unexpected businesses since you've come to Beacon. You helped apprehend the criminal Roman Torchwick, of which we are very thankful for. You fought with the forces against the breach of Grimm, and also you worked together to survive the incident with. Winter hesitated for a moment to control her temper. The Uchiha insurgents. The girl shared some quick looks at a memory of their time with Sasuke's brother and his team. Yang diffused the tension with a laugh. Yeah, that was one hell of a time. Don't know what happened to those guys, but I hope they're getting what's coming to them. Winter nodded with a slight sinister tone. Yes, I'm sure they will. You know, you shouldn't say something like that. Ruby piped up. I mean, it was really sucky what those people did to us. But it is Sasuke's brother we're talking about. If he got hurt, I'm sure he'd feel really bad about it. Yeah, he might need some serious consoling if anything happened. Yang gave a cheeky smirk. I wonder where he'd get that from. I don't know what you're implying. Really? Blake joined with a sly smile. Seems pretty obvious from where I'm standing. Oh, Ruby giggled. Weiss, enough. Weiss stated firmly before turning. I'm sorry for the mindless chattering. Winter. Huh? Her older sister seemed stunned and catatonic for a moment before jumping out of her fugue state. She rubbed her head. Apologies, I had a waking nightmare moment. I think it's past now. What was it about? I'd rather not say. Wonder coughed into her fist and quickly regained her composure before standing up straight. I have a meeting to get to with the general and your headmaster, but I'm actually ahead of schedule. So if you like, we can walk around the school for a little bit. Catch up more on your time here at Beacon. Really? Winter nodded and Weiss seemed to shake with joy. I would like that very much. Yang and Blake shared a look before stepping aside. The two waved to their teammates and her sister. Well, if you're going to spend some quality time together, we should let you enjoy it as much as you can. We'll stop at the room later, Weiss. We'll bring you back something from the fairgrounds. Weiss, Ruby spoke up to her partner and her older sister. I need to head back to our room to take care of Zwei. So would you mind if I came with you and your sister? And that's all right. Weiss nodded and earned a happy squeak from her partner. Winter's all right. Winter, is it all right if she joins us for a bit? Of course. I want to take a moment and see your quarters for myself while I was here. Winter beckoned a few of her Elysian knights to follow them as they strolled towards the school. So tell me a few things about your time here in Vale. Well, Vale is very different from my experience over in Atlas. Weiss said as they walked together. It was also rather difficult to adjust to the differences between here and Atlas while preparing for my school life. It certainly didn't occur that my partner was the kind of person to blow whistles in my ear and force us to make bunk bets. Oh, I know you love him. Love me. Ruby giggled. But Weiser has been the best partner ever, and she's made a ton of new friends since coming to Beacon. We actually all went out to dinner the other night as a celebration of the tournament coming up, and the fact our house arrest was finally over. So we house arrest. Winter repeated, causing Ruby to go up in horror, and Weiss to turn even paler than she already was. The younger sneeze scowled at her partner as Winter paused them. Weiss, what does she mean by the loud cloud of mental question against metal and rock interrupted the conversation? They turned around in start and looked at the cause with many others. The cause of the conundrum was the heap of Elysian knights that were piled on top of each other in the mess of bolts and mechanical limbs. The screens and lights flickered up a few more times before shutting down completely, signaling that they were totally wrecked. People looked at the scene with shock and confusion before looking at the cause of the problem. A drunken man sipping on his flask with one foot casually stuck out. He finished the sip and let out a satisfied groan before looking down at the mess. He then looked up at the Legion soldier and apologized with the smuggest shitting grin. Whoops, sorry. It looks like I caused the mess. Ew. Uncle Crow! A red blur dashed by Winter and Weiss and tackled the inebriated man. He quickly spun his foot to catch the girl and make sure he wasn't blown off of his feet. After draining her of her forward momentum, he looked down to see Ruby hugging him tightly and grinning up at him. I can't believe you're here. I can't believe you made it. Why didn't you call and tell us you were coming? I'm so glad you came to see us. The older raggedy man with the battered red cape behind him chuckled and patted her head. It's good to see you too, kiddo. Still a pipsqueak, I see. Ruby, the duo looked over and saw the Schnee sisters looking at them in confusion. Do you know this vagrant? Yeah, he's my Uncle Crow, Ruby said in motion to the older man who stumbled on his feet before trying to give a suave smile. He's our uncle and he taught me how to fight until I was this awesome. Winter continued to glare at the huntsman with the shabby attire and lack of all self-respect. The atlas specialist snarled. I would not have guessed that you were related to this derelict. That's right. Crow spoke up, giving a haughty laugh and patting his knees on the back. I am a derelict, and this is my derelict niece. Yeah, worst derelict as you can get. Weiss and Winter were stunned. Neither of you know what derelict means, do you? Ruby and Crow quickly shared a look before the younger scythe wielder nervously rubbed her neck. If you say it like that, then I guess it wasn't a compliment, huh? That's all right, kid. Crow tried to cheer her up with a quick pat on the head. We don't need to be walking thesaurus to get our points across. Crow stepped forward and pointed at Winter. Hey, you, sucker! Ha! The Atlas huntress rubbed the bridge of her nose before shaking her head. I hope you understand the consequences of wrecking Atlas property like this. Won't just be a slap on the wrist. Hey, don't blame me. One trip over my foot and took down another and it just kept going. The raggedy man defended himself before shrugging. It was just one series of unfortunate events. But you know, if this is the best Atlas has to offer, and they can get tripped over by some guy relaxing by a lamppost, you might want to rethink your purchase. We didn't. Winter took a deep breath and exhaled through her teeth. Never mind. I don't have time to be dealing with your idiotic chatter. I need to meet with Headmaster Osmond and General Ironwood about that knife in Oz's back. And Crow interrupted. Yeah, I got some words for Jimmy too. Winter quickly stopped in place before she could walk away. She slowly turned back to face Crow, a look of silent fear on her face as she glared at him. I don't know what you think you are insinuating, but you need to shut your mouth now before it has to be wired shut. Ruby gulped. Uncle Crow, I mean, I expected more. I expected more from Metal Shaft. Crow continued his worried niece's warning, falling to deaf ears as he continued to infuriate the soldier. Years of friendship and partnership, and he throws it all away at the first hint of power. If that isn't the mark of a terrible friend, I don't know what is. Winter, Weiss piped up. Maybe we should. You do not talk about Junior Wood like that. Winter barked. Oh, Crow asked with a scoff before flicking his chin. And who's going to stop me? Everyone took a few steps back. Hunting, Weiss's sister is here. Yep, she's going around campus with Ruby and Weiss. Yang said as she and Blake walked around the fair with Loctix after meeting up with them. It's crazy how similar she is to Weiss. She's like a clone that still has that huge stick up her. Yang, Blake cut her off as the blonde girl shrugged. Needless to say, she's quite intense and very vigilant. Damn, an older, angrier Weiss with a bigger bug up her butt. Kiba shuddered in horror. Just the thought would keep me up at night. Tintin slapped his arm and he laughed. What? You can't tell me that isn't a scary thought. Naruto looked ready to speak, but Sasuke quickly shoved him aside. She must have been really happy to see her sister here. She actually came to meet Ironwood, but she wanted to spend some time with Weiss while she still could. That's sweet. Surprisingly heartfelt from someone Weiss calls family. I'm really happy that Weiss has such wonderful family members. I'm also overjoyed that she has such friends that care for her well-being and happiness. The group of friends quickly jumped around to face the cheerful voice that snuck up on them. When they did, they were faced with a familiar freckled ginger with the sun hat over her head. She grinned brightly and waved salutations everyone. It is so good to see you again, Penny. Naruto looked surprised to see the odd quirky girl again after so many months. He hadn't properly spoken with her since the dog incident, and by the look of Blake and Yang, they hadn't gone out of their way to see her either. I haven't seen you in ages. Yes, I have been quite busy with my team and other matters, so I haven't been able to attend many classes or events, which is unfortunate because I wished to go out with my new friends and enjoy fun activities and socialize. The perpetually peppy girl smiled again. But all is well because I get to do that now and have a sensational time. Hello again, Blake and Yang. Hi, Penny. The two girls responded unenthusiastically. Penny smiled and turned to the others. And I also see people that I haven't gotten the chance to introduce myself to yet. Hello, my name is Peli Paladina, and it's very nice to meet you. Hello there. Tintin chuckled at the odd girl's quirky behavior. My name is Tintin Tamura. Penny quickly took her hand and shook it rapidly. It's very nice to meet you. I'm Kibi Nozaka. The brunette was expecting her forceful handshake to come and match it with his own. He smirked. You're stronger than you look. And I'm Sasuke Uchiha. Tintin approached him, but he quickly brought his hand up. I'd rather not shake actually. The odd girl stared at him for a moment before smiling and enveloped him in a hug. The raven-haired swordsman looked unamused as he was lifted out of his feet and bounced around. His friends were struggling to bite down their laughter as he sighed. I should have seen that coming. Oh, it is so great to make new friends and to be reunited with old ones too. Yang, Blake, and Naruto flinched and cowered back from her enthusiasm, knowing just how focused she could be. She continued to talk while holding Sasuke in her grip. Ruby and I talked about a fun night out and partying together, and now that we have so many friends, we can invite all of you and make even more fun. As the saying goes, the more the merrier. That sounds like fun. But how about we wait until after the tournament is over? Yang suggested, trying to mitigate the freckled girl's elation as best as she could. When we celebrate the tournament being over, we can invite a bunch of our friends out to join us too. How about that? Oh, that sounds sensational. I have always wanted to party hard with a group of fellow teenagers. They laughed. I had a genuine and childlike joy before she turned to one of her new friends. You will join this party, won't you, friend Sasuke? Yes, put me down already. She complied and lowered Sasuke back to the ground as he grumbled and dusted himself off. While the others chuckled and jeered him, some of the other patrons of the fair started to quickly make their way by and run away. The students looked around in confusion. Is something happening? Oh yes, the people are making the way to Beacon's courtyard at the moment. There appears to be an unauthorized fight breaking out there that's getting a lot of attention. The Beacon students stared at the Legion girl in surprise before Naruto asked, Penny, how do you know that? I read the lips of some people a few meters away while they were passing by and theorized. I have very good hearing. Yes, I heard what they said. The sweet girl covered her mouth in embarrassment before continuing. It seems that an Legion officer has resorted to crossing blades with a huntsman. I don't think General Ironwood will be happy about that. A soldier is attacking a huntsman. That's terrible. It seems that the fight is largely even at the moment, and the huntsman is quite skilled. However, some people seem surprised that he is a huntsman because they say he looks like a drunken vagabond looking to pick a fight. The Beacon students were concerned that the Yang palmed her face and sighed so heavily at that description. Hunting, two sabers crossed against a massive hulking sword and created a loud echo that startled the people watching. The wide-haired attacker gritted her teeth and snarled as she pushed forward. Her ragged foe countered by pushing back with his massive blade, sneaking to himself as he got a rise out of her. When they realized that they weren't gaining any ground against each other, they quickly separated and took up new stances. Went to brandishing her dual blades and took a stance that would help her stay agile on her toes. Her twin sabers were then incurved swords best used for dueling. The longer blade with an empty center was gripped in one hand as she pointed at Crow, while the other shorter blade that had been removed from the first was held in a reverse grip. She glared daggers at her foe. Stand down now, and I promise to only leave you bruised. Ain't that an abuse of power? Crow snarled remarked as he leveled his weapon up in response to hers. Unlike Winter's blades, which were thin and light, Crow's was a massive, bulky sword. It looked impossible to lift by just one person, but the huntsman was able to easily wield and fight with it in just one hand. He took a fighting stance and waggled his giant blade mockingly at the sneeze soldier. So you're gonna come my way, Ice Queen, or do you need me to do all the heavy lifting? Winter's eyes twitched irritably before she got out of her stance and stood up straight. She raised her blade in the reverse grip and stabbed it into the ground by her feet. Two magnificent glyphs appeared by her feet and spun around as she used her semblance for one of her best attacks. Two figures of white fog rose up beside her before they started to solidify. The crowd of people watched the fight and gasped in awed amazement as the young woman was flanked on both sides by a pair of Grim. Just to her right was a large Ursa Major that had spikes stretching out several feet from its back, and to her left was an alpha Beowulf that stood on his haunches and roared. However, the two beasts were unlike any Grim that they had ever seen before. Unlike the usual three monsters with pitch black skin and red eyes, their bodies were white and blue with a faint cold mist covering off of their forms. Winter raised one of her sabers, and the beast beside her reacted to become more alert. Her eyes hardened on Crow before a slight smirk graced her features, and she pointed her blade at the huntsman. The two summoned creatures roared and charged at the cocky huntsman, standing across from the master. Crow chuckled and shifted his sword around, so the oncoming creature were lined up with the end of his sword. Once he had them in his sights, and they were growing ever closer, the blade of his weapon dipped down and revealed the monster hidden within. He fired, and an explosive charge was released that destroyed the bottom half of the Ursa. It crumbled to pieces on the ground, and Crow fired another shot at the charging Beowulf. The Grim construct swiftly avoided the projectile and lurched towards Crow when it saw an opening. Crow's weapon quickly reverted back to its sword form, and he easily slashed the ice construct apart. Its pieces scattered on the ground behind him as he chuckled up at Winter's agitated expression. Yeah, Uncle Crow, Ruby! Weiss immediately chewed out her partner as they watched their family members dash around at blinding speeds and fight. Normally, she would be exhilarated to see her sister fight so gracefully and magically in combat, but considering the location, circumstances, and that her opponent was a drunken Nimrod related to her partner, it only left her fretting. Can you not egg your uncle on? You keep fighting my sister like this. What if this escalates any further? It's okay, Weiss. We can make sure no one gets caught up in this. Plus, there are a bunch of other hunters and students watching as well. Ruby pointed out while keeping her eyes on the action. They'll make sure no one gets hurt. That's not a reason to keep letting them fight. Weiss yelled. If your uncle gets hurt fighting my sister, then Winter will undoubtedly feel guilty for the pain she caused. I don't think your sister went into this preparing to feel any sort of guilt. Ruby noted as she watched the steep woman yell and trust her Crow from every angle. The young huntress then looked at Weiss skeptically. Also, Crow is the one that's gonna get hurt. Please, he will totally whoop your sister's butt before she even knows it. Weiss gasped at the audacity of that statement. Are you delusional? My sister is a highly trained and disciplined and wonderfully gifted soldier and huntress. Your uncle is a drunk. Yeah, that's never stopped him before. Ruby shrugged. Kick her butt. Weiss stammered before shaking her head. Show him who is boss. Winter pressed on and slashed to the broadside of Crow's weapon as he continued to back away. The points of the sabers thrusted and bounced against the great sword, and Winter was sure she had him on the ropes. While he was retreating and his vision was blocked by his own weapon, Winter decided it was time to end this and lowered her stances. She swung for his knee, hoping to knock out his foot and drop him on his backside where he would be humiliated below her, but he raised his leg up high before the blade could come and let it swing under his foot, and anticipate her move and preparing for it. Crow smirked appeared over the edge of his sword before she stomped down and lunged forward, forcing Winter to stop her momentum and reversed to avoid running into him. When she stepped back, her heel caught on an upturned stone. From the shot, the Beowulf dodged and caused the Atlas specialist to stumble back. Crow took the inevitability and stepped in to end the match. The huntsman groaned as her foot swung up and struck his chin hard enough to knock his head back. Winter flowed into a somersault and several backflips to gain some distance. Once he finished, she was a few meters away from her opponent and was glaring at him spitefully. As she stood back up, Crow casually rubbed his chin before scoffing. I guess I got you on the back foot now, huh? Winter's control snapped and she dove forward in a dash of speed with her blade out to pierce Crow. The Cape Huntsman grinned as he prepared to counter. Ruby waited breathlessly as Weiss started to panic. Metal clashed against metal, and the whole audience went silent. Crow rolled his eyes and looked down at the hand on his chest, holding him back, and Winter blinked while staring at the prongs of her sword. Her sword had slid through when the knife blocked her. She looked up at the older blonde man that had interjected in the fight. Namakase, what are you doing here? Working, but at the moment I'm trying to stop a fight. Minto looked down at the saber that nearly pricked his neck. You know you're fighting at school, right? Winter's expression flickered between annoyed and ashamed. As she looked around at the gathered crowd, she muttered, I didn't mean to drag this out. I know you didn't, but this might still cause a bit of a stir. So if you take a breath, will you be able to calm down? The young Schnee woman took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. Her shoulders relaxed and she stepped back to pull her saber away. When she did, Winter stood up again and smiled gratefully gratefully for her restraint. Thank you. The expression quickly dropped into apathetic, unaware glare as he turned to the other person responsible. Crow looked over his shoulder and realized Minato was glaring at him. Me? Of course you. Hey, don't blame me. Crow defended himself. She attacked first. And why did she do that? Because she's crazy? Or is it because she did something? Aren't I innocent until I am proven guilty? Crow, I've known you long enough to know you're never innocent. Crow scoffed. That's a hell of a way to treat your old classmate. Minato shrugged. I'll treat you better once you tell me what you do. Tell me what you did to instigate this. Why is it me that's the instigator? When aren't you the instigator? Never. I'm a model citizen and trustworthy huntsman. I smell the 3 bars I smell the 3 bars you've been to on your breath. Crow paused to breathed into his hand and smelled it. It wasn't 3 bars. Did I undershoot? Judgmental as ever. I guess this part of you never changes, and the part of you that picks fight is still the same too. Hey, I never pick a fight until it was totally deserved. In this one, I didn't pick it. A psycho snowflake just came at me. Why, you? Minato raised his arm and stopped Winter from mauling the man right then and there. Crow, did you do something to anger Miss Knee? Nope. Crow said proudly with crossed arms. Clean as a whistle. That's not true. Wise called out from the side. He wrecked all of those Elysian knights that were escorting us just to get our attention. All eyes turned to the broken heap of robot pieces that served as that several stray birds were using as a perch. They were like that when I got here. Minza didn't look convinced. What is going on here? A loud, commanding voice demanding the attention of everyone present. They looked over to see General Ironwood step up through the crowd with a curious aspect and a frustrated Glinda who realized she was going to have to clean this all up. Ironwood's eyes landed on the people at the center of the ruckus. Schnee! General Ironwood, sir! Winter quickly stood at attention in order to appease her superior. She saluted him as he approached. I apologize for my tardiness, sir. I was walking around with my younger sister, and was distracted by complications. James looked around and quickly recognized the complication with a groan. Crow. Jimmy, the disgruntled huntsman had the same enthusiasm the general had for him. I guess you weren't expecting me here, huh? Well, the feeling is mutual. James looked tired from Crow's thinly veiled jab. Before Aspen stepped forward, Crow actually stood up a little straighter than when the beacon headmaster approached. Crow, I'm glad to see you're doing well, but I think we would have appreciated some calling ahead if you're arriving here. Yeah, it's nice to be updated and kept on things, isn't it? Although I guess that's more of a privilege than a decision, right, huh? Crow's tone was sharp and snappy as he raised his eyebrow, waiting for a response. Osmond and I would quickly recognize the petulant, irritated tone in his voice, and if knew they were in for an argument. The white-haired headmaster quickly turned around to the gathered crowd. Okay, everyone, this little confrontation is over now. Please get back to your businesses and enjoy your day. And if you are still looking forward to watching a fight, I would like to remind you that the qualifiers are still taking place tomorrow. Buy yourself some nice big treats and just enjoy the tournament. James raised an eyebrow. Do you get a commission for confections? No, but it certainly helps quell the worried crowd, doesn't it? The people started to separate as the show really was over. Osmond turned back around and walked over to Mito. Mito, there are a few matters we have to discuss back in my office. I hate to ask you, but you can make sure everything is settled with this little dilemma, and maybe make sure there isn't a mess being left behind. You want me to clean up Crow's mess? He quickly translated as the older huntsman gave a grateful nod. The blonde huntsman sighed and rubbed his forehead. God, it's like I'm a student all over again. I greatly appreciate your professionalism. Don't butter me up. Osmond thanked him once more before stepping away, with Ironwood, Glinda, Winter, and Crow following behind him. Mr. Minato, he looked down as Ruby and Weiss came up to speak with him after the crowd had finally walked away. The short leader looked up at the man and nervously asked him, so, it didn't stop. Do you think Uncle Crow would have won? Minto groaned. Ruby, the less I have to bother about anything involving Crow, the better. Weiss grimaced. You have to deal with that man a lot, haven't you, Mr. Namikaze? Not so often anymore, actually, Mishni. Minto sighed. But when I do, it is exhausting. Yes, I'm starting to understand that feeling very well. Weiss, don't look at me. Don't look at me when you say that. I'm not nearly as bad as Uncle Crow. Yet, Ruby, Weiss, Yang, Blake, Noctix, and Penny came running over to join their friends after hearing about the fight. Are you okay? Did Uncle Crow really? challenge my sister to a fight and break out into a brawl right here in the courtyard in front of everyone. Yes, yes he did. The snake hairs grumbled and crossed her arms. You have such a charming uncle. Yeah, but sounds like you met him. Vic looked around. I don't see any paramedics or stray limbs littering the brick walls. So what happened after the fight? Professor Osborne, Professor Goodrich, and General Underwood arrived and took Uncle Crow and went her away. But then before Mr. Namakase jumped in and stopped them from fighting, Ruby said it was super cool and almost really disappointing at all at the same time. The kids looked up at their instructor with surprise and admiration. Minto took their stunned silence to his advantage. Actually, I'm really glad you're all here now. I could use some help. You see the little fight between Crow and Mishni left quite the mess. He pointed to the scrap heap of Elysian knights off to the side, and it needs to be cleaned up so it doesn't bother all the nice people making their way through Beacon. And as the wonderful group of spider hunters, I know you ought to be dead. Not interrupted in front of his father. You aren't shifting your bitch work on us, are you? No, I wouldn't call this bitch work, never. You sure? Cause now I feel like a bitch. It's okay, sir. Penny was already by the pile inserting the scrap apart to more easily carry it. I am happy to assist my friend's father with his bitch work. Penny giggled. I'm not sure why it is called that, but I sure am having a fun time with my new friends. Damn it! The students groaned and made their way over. How are we supposed to stand around and let that poor girl do all of this by herself? I blame your uncle for this. They tripped over his foot. It's not his fault. Winter, hunting. Winter stomped through the halls of Atlas, of the Atlas fleet ship stationed over the skies of Bell. The soldiers that were in her way saluted and quickly pressed themselves against the wall. Good, because while she didn't wish to disparage her fellow soldiers, she was not in the mood for anything else right now. Once again, Crow Brown had suddenly appeared out of nowhere and ruined her entire evening just by opening his mouth. And Jane Underwood held great respect for the man for whatever reason that will forever escape and plague Winter's thoughts, and had advised her when they had first crossed paths to work alongside him, an important mission, a chance to prove herself capable and experienced huntsman backed by the general himself. How could she possibly turn up that chance? God, she couldn't believe how naive she had been. Since then, she hadn't realized that there were two stages in her life before meeting Crow, and after, when she realized the horror that she existed in, that he existed in this world. Seriously, the world seemed more mutated and dull to her with the reveal that he existed. He was almost constantly drunk, slovenly, and unprofessional. If there was an etiquette to working with new people for the first time, Crow threw it in the garbage and dropped the unspeakables on top of it. And even if she had to begrudgingly admit that there might be a small possibility of talent and skill hiding under that booze fire, he topped it all by being smug about his efforts and undermining the work the Atlas military did. To top it all off, he somehow found a way to worm into everything with everyone. General Arnwood and the other exalted leaders of the schools were very close with Crow and had some kind of regular meetings with him. Minato Nanakase was a skilled and professional hunter. She had the pleasure of working at the civil mission with before, but apparently he was also an old classmate of his. And to top it all off, the young aspiring huntress Weiss spoke of so fondly in her letters turned out to be the niece of a bum. She tried to calm down and focus on other matters from her day. Looking back, she had felt so relieved to see her little sister again after so long, and all the friends she had made. But when she did, she remembered something else that left her fuming. Luckily, unlike the drunken problem, this one could be dealt with a little easier. The door slid open and Winter stomped into the break room with purpose. Attention! Gurren quickly jumped out of her chair and saluted her command officer. Yes, sir. She was still a little rough around the edges, but she was clearly making an effort to assimilate to her new role and environment, which included sudden calls of attention and respect for her superior officers. Her partners, on the other hand, later upended the bag of chips in his hand over his mouth and tried to get the last of the crumbs out. He stopped and looked over at Winter as she glared at him for his insubordination. Dinner's only response was to smack the bag once more to dislodge any remnants of his snack. And when it was clear there was nothing left, he sighed in disappointment and stood up. I guess you really did come all this way. Shit, I thought we had a reprieve from any sort of your crap. I should make you run laps until the soles of your shoes wears out and the bottom of your feet bleed for your unruly behavior. You want me to run laps through the ship? Theodore scoffed. And here I was thinking you might have been. He cradled his head. The fuck, Goran? Winter nodded approvingly at the blue-haired woman's efforts to punish the blonde's disrespectful attitude, gaining a bit of her composure back. She continued with the report. I was told you were put on patrol duty today. Anything to report? No, sir. Goran shook her head. Someone really behaved in drunken, disorderly contact, but nothing of note so far. There was a purse snatching, but they caught the runner before they could get far. Did he? Winter raised an eyebrow and looked at the rowdy blonde as he rubbed the bump on his head. I'm surprised you are actually capable of doing anything. Don't suck my cock to fuck. Stop hitting me. Is there anything else you need from us? Actually, I do have something to ask you too, but it isn't a professional matter. It is personal. Winter admitted it's something to do with your personal lives with the Uchiha group. Oh hell yes! Enthusiasm exploded out of there again, out of nowhere, as he stepped forward and smirked. Now we're talking. No more of this stupid military crap. Being the first to join and the best fighter. I can tell you anything you want to know. Name it. Hypothetically, what would a young lady find appealing in your younger associate Sasuke Uchiha? Goran slowly stepped away from whatever happened next. Winter stared holes into Dido's eyes as she waited for some response, and the former blonde and the former vigilante slowly lowered himself to his knees and closed his eyes. Just fucking end it. Anything for this, please. Hunting. And these are our bunk beds. They were my idea. I figured there ain't nobody here. I'd expect to make bunk beds with them hanging dangerously from the ceiling and balancing on a bunch of uneven books. The older huntsman commented with a chuckle to his niece. Seriously, those are gonna topple over one day. Yang shrugged. Maybe, but you can bet Ruby and I will bail out before we get crushed on anything. Wise and Blake stood off to the side with peeved expressions as they realized the sisters didn't have a plan for them if their bed suddenly dropped on top of them. Blake leaned in to her teammate's ear. So your sister tried to kill this man in front of a crowd? I don't think she'd go that far, but I can certainly see where her annoyance is coming from. Hiya, buddy. Crow knelt down and started to pet and rub Swice's head after the pup had come running up to his feet. The corgi happily panted and rolled out his tongue in glee as the older man looked to the side. And I guess your teammates aren't too happy to have a guy invading their room, huh? I guess the sneer up the attitude isn't restricted to just one ice queen. Wise's eye twitched. It is quite unfortunate you had to come visit. I had a perfect fragrance of lavender and fresh snow in the room, but now all that's left is the scent of alcohol and cheap cologne. Huh, the cheapest. And what about you, little lady? Is dour and silent the default with you? Did you choose the goth lifestyle or just slip into it naturally? Blake shrugged. Not sure. Did you choose the drunk hobo lifestyle or slip into it naturally? Oh, I fell into it, kid. I fell hard. And Crow stood back up and cracked his neck before stepping into the center of the room. He looked around and chuckled. I'm glad to see you kids are settling in so well. I bet your time here is going to be great, but don't expect the rest of your time to be as easy as your first year here. The girls looked between each other. You do know what we've done since coming to Beacon, right? Oh, I know. I stand by my statement. Hey, not to notice the door was open and Pokey said in when he heard so many noises. Y'all okay in here? Nato, hey, hang on. Ruby ran over and grabbed her uncle's hand before pulling him to the door. Uncle Crow, you've got to meet our friend. He's one of the first people I met when I came here. Uncle Crow, this is Nato Uzumaki. She motioned to her whiskered friend with a smile. Nato, this is our Uncle Crow Bronwyn. Nato nodded as the older man to the older man, and then quickly grimaced when he caught a whiff of the scent on him. He covered his nose and quelled his gag. It's nice to meet you. Social media toast kid. The kid huntsman deduced. He snickered. I could tell just from one look. You got Krishna's face and that blank stare of Minato's that got him in so much trouble. Plus the semblance you showed during the fight earlier was just like your mother's. You watched this fight today. Cora's face pinched up with doubt. A fight is a bit of a stretch. It was more like I was watching a junior sparring match where the little kids just threw wild punches and kicks without actually aiming. It's cute, but when you watch, you just know you could do better. All five students just stared at the man in contemptible silence. Naruto hummed, surprised you could watch anything from the gutter outside the bar. I'll see you all tomorrow for breakfast. The girls nodded and waved their friend goodbye before turning back to glare at the older man. He shrugged and pulled out his flask. If I don't tell you now, how are you ever going to learn? I think I see why you don't have many friends, Mr. Brownwin. Extra condolence and apologies to Noctix, Juniper, and RBY. They sat at the waiting table anxiously as time passed by slowly. Every sound of the ticking clock was an excruciating reminder that they still didn't know anything. Ruby's legs bounced up and down with worry that her partner might. The doors to the waiting room swung open, and everyone looked over to see Weiss solemnly walk in with a look of shame on her face. She nervously rubbed her arms and looked up at her friend before sighing. That could have gone better. Her friends were quick to come to her side and try to cheer her up. The sudden hairs felt hands sit on her shoulder and inside hugs to raise her spirits. Blake smiled sadly. They can all be winners. Weiss, Ruby pushed her way through and hugged her best friend tightly. It spoke tons about the situation that Weiss didn't immediately throw her off. I thought you were amazing. The fight was great, and you were awesome. But that ice cream joke was really funny. A small smile cracked the white-haired girl's face before she frowned again. You want to know the worst part about this? I'm never going to live it down. Don't let it get to you. Yang came up to her friend's side and pulled her in close. Did you have fun? Yes, then that's all that matters. It's not like this thing was even important to begin with. Yes, it is. It's the most important thing in the world. All the teenagers rolled their eyes as they looked over to the obnoxious blackened boys. Naruto was proudly sat atop a table with a smug grin and a hearty laugh. These fights are the most precious and inaccurate things in the world. The decisions are long, and whatever they end up with should be considered a full scientific fact beyond any doubt. They are objective perfection. Your feelings have certainly gone 180 since we were last here. Sasuke bemoaned. I thought this was just a popularity contest about who the developers loved the most with fake mathematics. Could it be you flipped around since your victory against that ginger kid with the big sword? I don't know what you're talking about, dear boy. Naruto deflected. There's a big difference between the main course and those silly little tidbits they offer in between. I would never lose to Rubber Man, and you lost to that mossy guy with 3 swords. Plus, Yang won against that screaming exploding kid, and Ruby lost to that bug guy. And I also won against Ragna, which is crazy because Ragna is super strong. Plus, Ragna also has a bunch of awesome techniques. Ragna's sword is also one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Ruby brimmed with excitement. Have I told you guys about Ragna before? Everyone besides Steamer Ruby groaned. Yes, Ruby, we know about your friend Ragna. Oh, and thanks for not inviting us to play with your team playing your game, by the way. Don't blame me. Take it up with the developers. Anyway, we can trust what the researchers said and decided. I mean, they have to be right about these things. Naruto snickered as he stood on the table over all of his friends. I mean, I'm basically a god. I tank attacks that would kill the rest of you in an instant and get back up to fight again. I can block an attack that would destroy the moon. empty moon, with the fox doing most of the work. I'm basically a ninja space messiah who can dodge attacks at relativistic speeds. I am a god. I am. An apple flew straight into his crotch. Naruto doubled over, slipping in, harshly landed on his ass before rolling over to drop on the ground. Whoa, guys, did you see that? That apple hit him. Kibo snarked as he tossed the apple in his hand. That must mean that apple had to be made of material stronger than the center of a star, and moving at speeds at least equal to relativistic. Oh, that must be it. Yang snickered. I wonder how people are going to rationalize this. I think the worst part is that I never had a chance. Why, sadly muttered. I mean, if I won, everyone would say it was out of bias, and if I lost, then they would say that the only reason I lost was to make it look like they didn't have a bias, which would apparently only reaffirm that there was a bias. It was a lose scenario from the start. Weiss, look at it this way, Attendant spoke up. Most of the people who saw that fight are like us, and joined the battle, and look of it while happy that you fought so hard. And then somewhere along the way, there will be people that, my balls in my butt, they hurt. God, it's sad how accurate that is. Naruto squeaked as a heel boot stepped into his back and walked over it. The beautiful red-haired woman proudly stepped forward before stopping in front of her foe. Wash ni, Mitsuru Kirijo. I just want to say that it was an honor to face you in battle. Weiss and the others blinked in surprise. Really? Of course. The proud hairs nodded. Your sword play was beautiful and elegant, and you had the grace of the most skilled of dancers. I was in awe of your performance. Oh, thank you very much. Weiss cheered up a bit. Your strikes were so confident and powerful. I thought my arm was going to break, and your in-chat pattern with your spirit was so well timed. I didn't think I could even reach you. It was unfortunate how the fight had to end, but it was a pleasure to be matched with you. Mitsuru said, her charm amazing the others who watched the honorable heirs speak so eloquently with the foe she had just defeated. I will celebrate the time we should meet again. Although I hope it will be together instead of against each other. I look forward to the day. Hey, Naruto groaned from the ground. Aren't you going to flaunt your victory and rub it in her face? Of course not. The red-haired heiress sees leader looked disgusted by the idea. It was a splendid match, and I was glad for the opportunity to face her. The fight is over and done with, and so we should move on and continue with our lives. Just because one battle is won or lost, does that mean that we should dwell on it forever? Weiss spoke up to the older girl before pointing to the door. Do you want to come with us to celebrate the fight? It's just a simple little burger diner, but my companions chose to eat it afterwards. But I would be honored if you would join us. Burgers? There's questioned before contemplating quietly. I'm not familiar with the customs or etiquette of eating the burger diner. Should I be dressed for such an occasion? Oh my God, you two are perfect for each other. Do we call you Miss Mitsuru or Mitsuru-san? Don't be a weeb, John. Hey, do you know the Naruto coming? He also has a personal. Ruby, stop flaunting your connections on us. We get it. You get to be in a lot of games. You guys are leaving? Naruto groaned from the ground as he cradled his front and back. Fine, whatever. I'll be down here basking in my glory while clutching my aching butt and balls. Wait, am I the poisonous one? End of chapter 75.